So let's go ahead and get rolling. A couple things first. We need to time and date stamp this. We are going to be going over some market information, some financial unemployment, GDP information. So if someone's watching this in a week and what we're saying today is completely ridiculous, that's why we want to time and date stamp this. So it is May 1st, about 3 o'clock in the afternoon Pacific time. The other part is a very big thank you to Keeping Current Matters and everybody over there, Steve Harney and the crew. A lot of the research and the graphics are directly from them. The methodology that we're going to be talking about today, it's very simple. We're always looking for long-term and reliable resources for market information and the analysis as well as the science behind it. The logos in the lower right, those are just some of the resources that we're using. So this is not opinion. This isn't what I feel. No one cares what I feel. Everybody cares about numbers. All right. So the disclaimers up front, nobody can give you perfect advice. If anyone tries to do that or tells you they are, run from them and run quickly. Number 2, this is what we're seeing taking place in the real world. Number 3, this is what the science has to say. Based on all that, I'm going to give you the best advice that I possibly can. All right, so I'm going to turn it over to Philippe. I'm going to let him talk about the company, and then he's going to give us an update on home inspections, coronavirus, and all that. So Philippe, welcome aboard, and the floor is yours.
Well, thank you very much, and I really appreciate it because I'm a numbers guy too, and the numbers are what they are. They just are. So I like to stick to that, and we can talk about what we would like, but at the end of the day, it's the numbers that talk. So I'm an open book. I'm willing to share what is going on from our point of view. Like Ryan said, I'm Philippe Heller, and I started the real estate inspection company back in 2004. We're a company of about 20 people, and that includes home inspectors, we've got drain line technicians, we've got customer service representatives. So we have been in it. We do a lot of work all over San Diego, South Orange County, and Riverside. So we've been hit. Obviously, we're only working when real estate transactions are going on. So we're in this together. And what we have seen is that we stuck with it right through the beginning. So around March 18th, 19th is when we really started seeing the effects of it. There was still kind of a groundswell of transactions that were coming through the system. So we stayed pretty busy for a few weeks, but then certainly when April hit, it started to slow down. And of course, all the new rules. And Ryan wanted to go over like what we're doing in this new era of COVID-19. How are we adapting just as realtors have adapted to the new rules and still be able to provide good service? A totally different ballgame. All of our guys, myself included, really like to educate clients. I think all good real estate agents do the same. You want them to understand what's going on. So it's been a big adjustment to all of a sudden do our job and try and explain our craft to the clients without having them there. Now we're talking about plenums and ductwork and R values, and we can't show it to them. We can't tell them what we're doing. So we have to do it creatively via Zoom, via FaceTime, via phone calls. We have asked each and every client and real estate agent not to attend the home inspection, but which we've never done before. We've always really enjoyed having everybody come to the inspection, attend, go through the summary, look at the pictures, we can point things out. So this has been a big transition. We have started to ask that nobody attend, only the sellers if they have nowhere else to go. And most real estate agents have been doing real well, sending us a one-day code and letting us let ourselves in. We have our guys are wiping down all their equipment before they start. Luckily, we've had no problem with our supply of sanitary wipes and alcohol and face masks and gloves. And then they're wiping down all of the things that they touched throughout the house. So appliance knobs and microwave handles and switches, toilet flush handles, all those things that they're going through, they're wiping them down after they complete it, thermostats included, and going through, getting in and out as quick as they can, and leaving the house back to the sellers as they found it, and then completing the reports off-site, and then calling the agent and the clients and going over the reports that way. So it's been a big adjustment. Like I said, all our guys are pretty social guys, and they like normally to to share their knowledge. They're big on that. And I think it's a better understanding instead of just throwing a 60-page report in somebody's inbox and saying, you know, good luck. So we are still walking them through and going, you know, that's how from our perspective, that's how it's changed. We have seen the market picking back up. For the total month of April, the number of inspections is down about a third. It's starting to come back out. So last couple of weeks, we've seen definite improvement. But for this month over April 2019, our volume of inspections is down about 30%. As far as the other interesting thing that we've seen is that the houses that we're inspecting tend to be under 2,500 square feet or condos and townhouses. We're also seeing a lot of small multifamily, like 3 to 4 units. The houses that have kind of stopped coming through are the 2,500 square feet and up. You know, probably a price point of, say, $1.2 million and up. Those have dramatically slowed. So that's one thing that we have noticed is we do a lot of big houses everywhere from Carmel Valley to Rancho Santa Fe and Del Mar, and we're used to doing, you know, sending out multiple guys. And so that is another observation that we've seen. And just to give you an idea, because this is a metric that we track, in a 12-month period, we inspect over $3 billion worth of real estate. So we see a ton of stuff, but we are seeing that number trend downwards to the kind of lower end of the market. And if anybody, I don't know if Ryan has the chat on here, but if you want to ask any questions, you can go ahead and submit them, and then I want to make sure I address everything. Let's see what else is going on. We did have to furlough a couple of guys, and that was voluntary because they had young children at home. And when this first came out, you know, their spouses were a little concerned about, you know, perhaps bringing. It's very scary, of course, when this all first happened, about bringing something home to newborn kids. So we did have a couple of guys voluntarily furlough, but otherwise all the other guys, you have to remember that home inspectors have always been aware and careful of diseases, of viruses, and of just some disgusting houses that we've been in, to be frank. There's been hantavirus that's always been around, and that's transmitted through rodent droppings. And our guys are used to crawling under houses. That's why we wear our PPE and the disposable Tyvek suits. Before I was really aware of hantavirus, way back when I started, I used to wear this kind of cotton, look like a jumpsuit, and it'd get washed maybe once a week, and I'd reuse it. We've since obviously have started to use disposable Tyvek suits and disposable stuff because we know now that a single use is important so that we're not transferring hantavirus, which is also extremely deadly. It has very similar symptoms to the flu. You feel achy and whatnot, and by the time you go to the doctor, you're dead. So it's really, really a tough thing. So home inspectors have always been knowledgeable and careful about this. It's just now we're even more so careful inside the house and not just in the attics and crawl spaces. So most of the inspectors kind of rolled with it. And like I said, other than making an extra show of so everyone who is there is comfortable, especially the sellers, wiping down everything. Another trend that is happening, similar to the increase in Matterport, is that we are seeing an increase in the number of pre-listing inspections. And we've always been proponents of pre-listing inspections for a number of reasons. First of all, it puts control back into the seller's hands. They're not going to be surprised at the 11th hour when a buyer's inspector comes in, does a report, and finds out that maybe the 25-year-old AC system isn't cooling properly. What's going to happen? The buyer's going to ask for a $15,000 credit for a whole new system because, after all, it's 25 years old. If you do a pre-listing inspection and you find this out up front, you can talk to your sellers about perhaps just having the system serviced and it runs great. And that way, when a buyer's inspector comes in, there's no issues with it. Hopefully they've been supplied with a nice home warranty that's going to keep that unit running. And it really, really reduces issues like that. It also reduces how many people are coming through at at the back end when at the end of escrow. So you do this up front, and we don't care. Like, it's not a sales pitch, because whether we do a pre-listing inspection or a buyer's inspection, it's the same thing. But it does put the negotiating power back into the hands of the listing agent and the sellers. It also shows good faith. There's so many deals being done right now where buyers haven't even been in a property. They're buying them just based on a Matterport or just photos or something like that. And so now, if they can see that the sellers took the time and went to the expense of having a pre-listing inspection and have a list or receipts for anything that was wrong, and they can show, look, we care. We want to sell you a house that's, well taken care of. Here's our list of stuff. Here's the paperwork. It's going to give confidence to the buyers. So they're going to be less likely to ask for concessions. They're going to feel more confident in making an offer. So that's another trend that we're seeing. And I suggest that you do it. And we've all talked to sellers who have really grand visions of their home, and they think that the home is worth a lot more than it is, or that it's in perfect shape. It's another way for you, if you're having a difficult seller, to really have a honest conversation about the condition of the home. So you get the pre-listing inspection, you can sit down with them and say, look, these issues are going to come up. Let's take care of some of them, or at least disclose them, and then go from there. That'll help you agree on a proper selling price. It'll make your job easier, because you don't have to scramble to find contractors and figure out what to do, when you only have days left of an escrow. So that's another trend, and a highly recommended kind of, way to do business now, is to get that. And up in Northern California, that's the norm. Like, they put a house on the market, it's been inspected before it hits the market. So we're finally seeing that down here in San Diego as well. Let's see. Other than that, finally, there are some home inspection companies I know that haven't survived this and may not come back, and that's sad. I mean, I'm connected with a whole bunch of home inspection companies, both in San Diego and outside, and I think just like in your arena, some realtors and real estate agents have decided to check out, and this is just too hard. It's kind of like 08, 09, and we went through that as well, where people said, wow, this is supposed to be easy way to make money, and it's not. And so they head to the hills. And we're going to stick it out. We're going to make it through. We haven't yet done any of the PPP loans or disaster loans. So we're going to make it through. But, it's been tough, and it has changed. Not only in the way we do it, but in the revenue models and the profit margins. Everything has changed, and it's going to be interesting to see as we go forward in the next months and see how, they're talking about changing the school year. That's going to affect home sales, because nobody wants to move while their kids are in school. Yep. Is this going to just push everything into the winter when it normally slows? I don't know. Like Ryan, I can only look at the numbers. I don't want to predict anything, but we're just going to try and be flexible and roll with the punches. So, Ryan, did you have anything that you wanted me to address in particular?
I have a couple questions for you based off of what you shared with us. One serious question and then one kind of fun question. So as you laid out the basic process right now, you guys are absolutely preferring that nobody's in the house with the possible exception of the seller, and that's for everybody's safety. And I'm sure everybody values and appreciates that like we do. As we start to turn the economy back on, beaches are opening, parks are opening, we're going to start to see businesses opening in California. Where are you guys at right now with starting to open that back up, whether that's bringing in the buyer's agent and they can conference somebody in on a Zoom call for the summary, or have you guys put any thought into that yet, or are we still a little too far away from that at this point for you guys are moving that way? That's
what we're doing. Usually FaceTime, it might be easier for the guys because they're on the road sometimes. And, the agents are always very, hey, how did the inspection go? So the guys are calling them or doing a FaceTime or conferencing in the buyers and just going over the summary as we would on site. Obviously, we're not sitting down with them. They're adapting to it. So they are making adjustments and rolling with with the new way of doing business, which is FaceTime or Zoom. And a lot of realtors are good at just setting up that Zoom call and having the link ready. And so, 3 hours, 4 hours after the start time of the inspection, boom, they're jumping on a Zoom call. And our inspectors, we use Zoom internally anyway. Perfect. So they're all very comfortable communicating that way. Perfect.
All right. Then the fun question, what's the strangest thing you've seen called out in a home inspection?
It's
like asking an ER doctor what the funniest, strangest thing they've seen come in.
I'm going to keep it
PG.
Because we see everything you might imagine, and it blows my mind some of the things that people leave out with strangers coming in the house over the years. But probably one of the weirdest things we've ever seen was an actual coffin on one of those rolly things like you see from a hearse, how they move the coffin into the vehicle and out, right in front of the house. And it had a 5-gallon like Home Depot bucket underneath one corner that was filled with this liquid. I don't know if it was rain or what. And our inspector did not open the casket, but that's got to be one of the absolute strangest things that we've ever seen at a home inspection.
Yeah.
You got to think, what's in there? Urns. Okay, we've seen urns, but a coffin sitting out front.
Yeah.
That was pretty bad.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, I'm sure there's some other good ones. Maybe we'll get to those at another time in the adult version of the show. So, all right, cool. If anybody, we do have some questions that have been sent in ahead of time for you. We'll bring those all out at the end. Anybody who's on the chat is turned on. Philippe, thanks for mentioning that. So if any questions are coming up that you guys have as we're going, feel free to type them in.